We are selling our formula officially. It's amazing stuff from Europe.
Made in Germany. Sold in America.
Highest standards there are. In America, the standards haven't been updated since 1980. It's super weird, like older than me. In Europe, they update safety standards basically every year. This formula is top notch, great for the stomach, great for constipation. This is a great product. If you happen to want to purchase it and join us on our journey, then grab the link in the description. If you do and leave a review for us, send me a screenshot at vinandsori@gmail.com of your review after you have received the product. We will put your name in a hat. Song reviews are going to come out by some of the people that have left reviews. Don't forget to send us a screenshot of your review once you get the product. Now a word from our mascot dressed as a pirate, Fuji.
It's a deal of a deal.
All right, you guys, we are in the middle of a DJ string. The next song we have up is Candlebox Happy Pills. And this is what the big homie 7 Dusted has to say about it. This is for Chris Burnett, the best drummer and biggest pain in the ass I've ever played with. We drove each other crazy. But when it came time to write music, we drove each other to more than we were capable of on our own. I'm angry, hurt, and disappointed with a lot of your choices. But I love you, my brother. Rest in peace.
Shout out to the homie. You know, it's like having a little brother. You know, like, what the fuck, man. All right, guys. So this is Candlebox.
Happy Pills.
Happy Pills is the name of the song. And that download was weird. So let's do it this way. Candlebox Happy Pills, you beautiful people. You got the lyrics up there?
Yeah.
You got the lyrics?
Yeah,
I'll actually,
that's right. I'll send them
to you. Are you going to hand them to me, or are you going to keep them for yourself?
I was going to keep them for myself, but
all right. This is to the big homie. This is for the big homie Chris, right?
Burnett.
Shout out to Chris Burnett. Let's go. Happy Pills, Candlebox. Let's do it.
Grow.
Somebody said that this band reminds them of Chevelle.
Oh.
I think Chevelle reminds us of this band. These guys came. This was out in '98. I don't think Chevelle was big yet.
Did you hear some Tool influence too? Like some of the way when he went into high? Yeah.
Yeah, not really. I didn't.
Oh, you didn't think so?
Yeah, I mean Maynard does
surrounding
those.
Your mind part.
Yeah, but vocally it sounds a lot different than Maynard. But that's what that moment in the song. I'm like, I want to hear. Live? I want to hear that live. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear that live because that talent to like soar like that and make it so clean, like that's very hard to do vocally. Mm-hmm. One of these days when you release yourself, you'll be able to get there because there's so much more we could do.
I know. I can feel it. I know.
When I fronted a band, I used my deep baritone voice for my diaphragm. I was pretty sexy, to be honest. Well, get us one of those songs and we'll do a reaction to it, Dwayne.
That's right. We will.
We could, in your alter ego as Dwayne Chamberlain, we know you're really inhabiting the spirit of John Lennon. Okay.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Okay, these happy pills, they won't say... What did it say? What was the line about the happy pills? It says it won't...
Take happy pills to keep you well. Or the ones where it says that they're actually not going to help you.
They're not going to help. They won't
keep you well tonight.
They won't keep you well tonight. There it is. There it is. The happy pills won't keep you well tonight. Yeah, man. I mean, I remember when I was in the hospital, and Dr. Petzel was like, "All right, we're gonna prescribe you some Wellbutrin and this," and there was like, I don't know, 5 different things that they were prescribing me to try to keep me alive. And I remember saying, "Well, I don't want to take those because I'll be on them for the rest of my life." She was like, "Well, it's not necessarily true to be on them for the rest of your life." She's like, "Secondly, the pills aren't going to like solve all your deepest problems. Mm-hmm. Your the meds are there to get you to a place where you can work on the problems without jumping off of a bridge, but it's not there to solve every single problem that you have." And I'm really glad that she explained that to me. I had such a good doctor. Is that Petzel again? Yeah, it's Petzel. It's such a good doctor because it set a lot of expectations. Like, eventually, once the stuff started kicking in, I definitely felt a difference, but it wasn't like there were still some major issues that I had to work through. But at least it gave me an opportunity to like get my feet on solid ground. Yeah, it gave you a chance. Yeah. But and I wanted to. I don't know if it's wanted to change, but I wanted to get better because, I had a girlfriend that was coming up, and I was out of a certain environment. It was bad. I just came from New York, which was a pretty horrible environment, and really, I think a lot of the reason I probably ended up in the hospital at the time was just all the shit I went through in New York. Because I didn't last a year up here before I ended up, in the hospital. But that was after. That was like right after New York. Yeah, I bet when you were in New York, you had to stay on guard, and then when you got to Maine, you were finally able to Yeah. So it was New York. Yeah, it was very. It wasn't until I started this channel, and I started talking about New York when I was like, "Holy shit! That looks like trauma. That sounds like trauma." But you never heard that terminology. Like nobody ever used that term. When we were seeing all this shit, nobody was like, "Yo, you got PTSD, bro. Mm-hmm. Like you getting flashbacks of this, flashbacks of that." Yeah. I take a shower, I see all this blood on my hands, like all types of crazy shit. Yeah. And like I didn't even, but nobody was saying like, "Oh, that's trauma," because whatever, like the incident happened, and jeez, that's the last thing you remember for the incident, and then you're trying to, I don't know, cleanse yourself in the shower or some shit. I don't know, but like you didn't nobody we just walked around. Okay, that's how it is. We didn't walk around saying that we were traumatized, all that shit. But yeah, like once I got to Maine, I saw all them trees and shit. I remember when we crossed in, when it says you're leaving New York, I remember like touching my body like, "Yo, this is crazy," because I genuinely thought to myself like, I'll never forget, because I was in the back passenger seat and I was looking out the window, and I saw the little sign that says "You're leaving New York" or whatever, come back or whatever. And I remember
crazy.
like holding my breath until like the car went past it.
No way.
Yeah, because I couldn't. I genuinely
This
didn't
is
believe I was
maybe a
gonna make
little
it
bit of a weird question, but did you feel more like a man or more like a ghost when you crossed that line? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely more like a ghost for sure.
Yeah, I wondered.
For sure. But anyway, like, and then at the time when I ended up in the hospital, like there were some like immediate the immediate environment wasn't good either. And so my doctor was like, well, you grew up, you just came out of New York. I wouldn't talk about anything that happened in New York because at the time I was still a minor, and at the time Petzel and my mom were talking to kind of, obviously she's the parent, your kid's, suicide attempt, whatever. And so I never talked about anything that happened in New York because my mom never knew, and I didn't want her to think of me that way. Because, we had our beefs and shit, but she wanted to, So I never talked about New York. I just talked about the other shit. But long story short, the other shit was pretty bad too. And so she basically said, look, and she pointed people out like they were in their 60s and 70s. She's like, this guy's been here like 4 or 5 times, in the last, 2 years or whatever. Like, he's probably gonna die out there or die in here. Like, and she's like, he's on every med in the thing. He's institutionalized, and this is what he's determined his life is gonna be. And so she's like,
that's interesting. That's what he's determined his life is going to be.
She's like, so the pills are not going to do that. The pills aren't going to do anything to you or for you. It's just what you're going to do with them. What is your intention? And so that was very, very helpful.
Well, I think that, like when you look at the way that the brain works and how it like makes connections and it will make shortcuts. Because it's always looking for like the simplest way to solve problems.
Yeah. And
so if you have a lot of shortcuts in there that are really unhealthy, then, having that medication to be able to kind of like reset your mind a little bit to say, okay, is that the best option for me when I get in this mind state, state of mind? That's pretty wild.
But all those things like AA, Al-Anon, mental health recovery, all those things, like, they give you certain baselines to operate from, but you yourself have to want to change.
Yep, 100%.
And, sometimes, we're all looking for the golden ticket. Like, oh, give me this thing to take 3 times a day, and then I won't be this way, or then I won't have these mental, whatever. And, like, that's not how it is. And sometimes like, the doctor like over hypes, over promises, and under delivers what the med can do. And Tesla was telling me like there's a balance between how much of the person's pathology is relative to their personality, and so how high of a dosage do you want to give this person to run the risk of completely deleting their personality and have a walking, because we've seen that too, like the walking zombie thing. But the thing is, like, when people were at the zombie level of their meds, like, they weren't good to do anything outside anyway. They'd basically have to stay. So it's just a really hard balance. And if the doctor does not communicate well about what expectations are and what needs to be done, then you're, other people that didn't have Dr. Petzel, like, they would just tell me, like, yeah, they gave me this, they gave me that, like, or they'd say, oh, we need to make an adjustment here, and the doc would say, oh, you want an adjustment? The doc would write a prescription, boom. Petzel explained everything to me. She explained, this is what it does, this is what you need to expect. This is
what a great. I'm so glad she did that. That helped out, like, huh?
Yeah, it's I mean, what happened. I mean, there's.
That woman was a real gift to you.
I got family members who aren't here anymore because their medical care person was just a drug dealer, essentially. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was just like, it's clear to me when I look at, how much shit was in that person's system, which you know, that should become, remind me, I got to reach it back out to them folks. Apparently they didn't get it, but anyway. You know, that person did that shit on purpose, obviously. But I remember, like, I'm like, did you ever even, like, treat her? I remember talking to them, like, the day after. And I'm
What
like,
did they say?
did you ever actually treat her? He's like, oh, I'll just send you to the medical examiner, blah, blah, blah. Like, he didn't want to talk after that.
I bet he didn't.
You know.
That's a lawsuit.
I mean, she knew
If not a lawsuit, I mean, morally, you gotta go to sleep to that. That doctor made those decisions.
Yeah, I know.
And at the end of the day...
Yeah, that's why I try to say... They initially try to say natural causes. Like, bullshit. Natural causes. No way. It's changed. That's why that email is like, oh, it's under investigation. But that's the email I opened up 8 years ago. I mean, that was sent 8 years ago, so... But yeah, they try to put it off as natural causes because they know. They just... You know,
yeah.
she had crazy insurance, so they would just say, yeah, sure. You know, and I'm not, to be honest, I'm not angry at those people. I'm not angry at those people because I know that person was determined to do that shit, and, you know, she was who she was, and nothing you could do to stop her.
That's what I was going to say. I never met her, but I see your personality, and she had a medical background. So I could just see myself getting, you know what I mean? Like if you went in with
those two.
Yeah, it's you know what I mean? Like the person might be more susceptible to be like, oh, well, they know what they're doing. I mean, they've got the background and
she did the whole thing on purpose, man.
But at the same time, like
she literally
to give her that
left us and flew off to an island by herself, like literally. So my you know, I had family members that they really thought she was coming back. They really did. But I knew, like, oh, she's setting this shit up. Because she'd always get herself in a lot of trouble. And then one of us would come rescue her. And I'm like, she's going over there so that we can't do that. Because I got one brother in New York, one brother in Carolina, and I'm up in Maine. And you're off in fucking, literally on an island. Like, so when she gets in trouble, like, none of us are going to be able to rescue her this time. So I knew what she was going over there to do. But so I'm not mad at those people, like, as far as like, oh, I'm gonna have a lawsuit and all this. Like I don't really feel that way. I was just more like, don't call me and tell me it's natural causes when I know for a fact it wasn't fucking natural causes. That was my only thing. Like, don't do that shit. But you know, the people that leave us in these situations, like, you get mad at them. You know, although with that particular person, I was able to make peace with her before, you know, I had that one, you know, movie conversation. It was almost scripted. And I called you, like, right after that. And I said, she's going to die, bro. That's the last time I told you. I was like, that's the last time I talked to her.
I know.
You're like, how do you know?
I wanted you to be wrong. I felt like you punched me right in the stomach when you said that because I was like, does he know something? Like, is he right? Or is this just, you know, like sometimes, like my family will worry about things that have never happened. It's not even historically happened. Like,
yeah,
you know, like, what if a bus hits us when we cross the train tracks? You know what I mean? Like, even like to that degree, like outlandish stuff. So like when you were saying it, I was like hoping that it was just one of those things where it was just you just being worried about whatever and it not being something that actually happened, but...
I'll be here to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time you try to shift it, every time your stitch is slipping. That looks like sort of a detox type situation. You know,
yeah, but what's a stitch?
Folks are detoxing.
Every time your stitch is
shudder, they shudder and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, boy. Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it looks like, I mean, I'm not very familiar with that because when we were detoxing folks, we used to send them up to. There's a one dude that kind of did a pre-detox at your house, but I don't think that's like a regular detox.
No, I don't think that's a regular detox. I was just thinking, you know, sometimes you would see people that would come in and they'd be talking to us and they'd be acting like they were like sweaty and cold and usually rocking and very like, it looked like if you just like put your finger on them that it would be painful for them. And then you'd be like, what's going on with you? What's happening? And then they weren't detoxing. They were needing another fix is what it was. So that's like the first stages of detox.
Right.
And then they go get another fix. But
Right.
that was just the first stages.
Yeah,
and that looked really freaking uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Especially if it's something hard like heroin or whatnot. Like, it's pretty...
And I went with the homie down, and I sat in the hospital with him, too.
When he was detoxing.
John the Baptist, yeah. What we called him. Remember?
The tall dude?
No.
The one at your house or the other
one? The one that Shannon had bandaged up his hands, and he was so unfamiliar with anyone giving him any kindness, he didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was so many of those people. The one that detoxed at your house ended up... I tell you, that drug is a son of a bitch. That fentanyl.
Every time I think about that, I can't understand, like, somebody is putting fentanyl into stuff knowing it's going to kill people, but they're just trying to increase the volume of their stuff to sell. Like, that's what's happening. Am I misunderstanding?
I really don't know. I don't know why fentanyl is... I don't know. I don't know. But the dude detoxed at your house.
Yeah, that was otherworldly.
Then we got him over there to the rehab center, and rehab guy was like, you know, telling the mom, like, listen, don't he's gonna call you in a couple weeks and tell you to come get him. Don't do it. Like, it's a whole spiel. We hear it over and over again. And then he looked at us and he's like, are you guys gonna, like, be in this dude's life? You gonna support him, or are you just gonna drop him off here? And I'm like, no, we got him. So I went up there multiple times to go hang out with his people. I did a Bible study with his people, all that shit. Me and Hal actually did.
You did.
Then the dude comes down, like, gives this great testimony in church because he was 2 minutes away from dying. Like, his daughter's discovering him dead. Like, was it John found him, right? John found him. We got him there.
I forgot about that part.
2 minutes. 2 minutes out. Dude was 2 minutes out. So he's giving this amazing testimony. That was the best night we ever had that night. I don't know if you remember that night.
It was a crazy night.
But
is that when multiple people got up?
The dude was up there. He was doing the spoken word about the Nachash, all this shit. Like, it was just a crazy night. It was just like the most glorious.
Is that recorded somewhere?
Bits and pieces, but we should have recorded the whole thing. But we didn't know, like, what was happening in the moment because we were all just it was just a crazy day. And, like, he was the pinnacle of it. And his mom was there, and his mother was so proud of him. And fucking last year, he OD'd and died over that shit.
I think it's been 2 years now.
He fell back into it.
And the thing is, like... So when he was doing all that stuff, like, he was skinny as a rail. Like, he looked like a skeleton with skin on him.
Yeah.
And
We've got videos of when we first saw him.
Yeah. And then, like, he got well, and he was going through this program, and stuff was really looking up for him. And he was telling me, like I'm doing this for God. I'm doing this for my daughters. Like, I'm changing things. And, like, you know, he put on weight. He just looked like very healthy, and like everything was going to be good. And even when he OD'd, like, he looked like still that, like, healthy weight and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't like, whenever I think about the situation, I think it must have been one of those things that they tell you over and over. People will use and use and use, and they get used to a certain amount that they have to take, and then they stop, and then they go back to it, but they want that same high that they used to have, so they go to the same dosage that they used to.
He was like 6'4".
Yeah.
I remember when he came back, because he filled out. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Because we used to, like, you know, you get around me, you're going to screw around a little bit, but he was all skinny and shit. So I was like, this guy's light work. He came back to his regular body. I was like, fuck, man.
It was
I'm
crazy.
just going to have to shoot this boy.
My God.
Doing none of this shit, boy.
The other thing, too, was, I don't know if you remember this, but when he left, he was wearing this orange jacket that was like a big, giant, fluffy jacket. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And he literally looked like he was... It was like... This is so bad. You remember on... who's the one that eats the spinach?
Popeye.
You know, Olive.
Yeah,
he
Olive
looked like
Oil.
olive oil wearing
like-
a jacket.
yeah,
he was
did
so
look like-
small.
he was so skinny.
And then
So
he
skinny.
like put on all that weight, and he was working out and all that, and he was wearing that same jacket. He came back and he looked like a friggin' house. He was so, I couldn't even believe like what a difference there was. And it was so like friggin' hopeful, like, because you look at that and you're like, this is so good. Like, he looked so healthy. He looked like he was happy. And he was, you know...
He was actually being a mentor. He was a mentor at the rehab that he was in.
He was. But you know what? I look back... This is another thing that I think... You know, now that I've come to the realization that I'm not the type of parent... Like, I thought that I was like, you know... Like, tough love. Like, if you have to do it... And I realized that that's very difficult for me to do. Like, a lot of times you're the enforcer because I'll just let stuff slide. But, like, had I known that about myself... Because when I was talking, when that conversation was happening with the mom, and they were saying, look, if he tries to leave or whatever, like, don't come pick him up.
Yeah.
He's got to stay. Like, guys try to leave this all the time, and when they leave, their moms will pick them up, and then that night they're back in the business, and a lot of them die that night that their mother picks them up. Well, had I known how I am now, like, now I would be like, listen, this is going to be like, this is the test of your life for him.
Yeah.
But I didn't know, you know, like, I thought, well, yeah, she should do this. Like, this is what you know what I mean? I had no idea how difficult that would be. Like, I can't even imagine, like, if Orion was calling me and he was like, Mom, you got to come get me. Like, this is so hard. Like, they're not letting me use my phones. Like, they're being mean or whatever, because, you know, people, basically they were at the end of their rope, you know, they didn't know what to do. And so they were like, to me, it seemed like it was like a last ditch effort. Let's try the Christians. So if you don't really know what these people are all about, and they've got your kid, and you're like, is my kid okay? Are they safe? Like, are they doing some overboard shit that some cults do? Or like...
And when he got in trouble, they would call me.
They did, yeah.
They called me. They didn't call his mother. Because they didn't want the parent, especially the mom. They didn't want the parent involved.
He wasn't underage. He was a man.
No, he was 25, 26.
Yeah.
But they would call me. And then I'd get on the phone and cuss him out. I'm like, you have to fucking get up there.
You did?
Yeah, okay, man. Just in my bag. Because he had a lying problem.
That's right.
He was sneaking his phone in, girly pictures. You know, he was with girls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shout out to Sean. Damn, bro. Yeah, so it's hard. Like, you get mad at him and shit, but at the end of the day, it's like, he did his best. You know? He didn't want to leave his daughters, you know what I'm saying? He didn't want to do all that shit. Even people that, like, take themselves out on purpose, man, they don't want to do that shit. They're just trapped. They don't see a way out. You know? And, you know, for me, like, I just had to look at it like, we could look at it like, damn, like, we put in all that work for nothing.
Oh, I never look at it like that.
Or you can look at it like, yeah, we got this guy, you know, maybe 4 or 5 more years with his daughter, with his mom.
Absolutely.
You know, I talked to his mom. She said, you know, thank you for loving my son, all this shit. And I'm like, obviously not enough. Obviously. But at the same time, like I said, that dude was also a stubborn dude too, man. He was a stubborn guy. I mean,
people make their decisions. He made his decision.
Yeah,
like,
he's a stubborn dude.
He knew he shouldn't go back to that, and he told us, he was like, I can never blah blah blah. Like, he knew, but you know, he made that decision.
Yeah. It's tough, man. You know, you love people. There it is, right there. Sean Buzzle. Yeah, we actually do have it. It's right there. Holy shit. His testimony. Damn. So yeah. So I got a friend here who
Fuck, man.
lost somebody recently too, so RIP to them. But I'm gonna show you guys a picture of our guy, Sean. He's a beautiful brother. This is after he filled out. This is after he filled out, and see one of the kids over there. I think that was his nephew. But we'll see him again, inshallah.
Oh, for sure.
See him again.
For sure. Yep.
Come with us, 7, you son of a bitch. All right. This is a silent count for me. Rest in peace to all our fallen soldiers, literally and figuratively. We love you guys. You guys are killing us, but we love you anyway. I like what my brother Ian said. He said, if you aren't addicted to something right now, do not start. That's a good line.
Well, and you know, Paul in the Bible, he said like I'm not going to be addicted to anything. Like
All
he
things are lawful for me, but I will not be enslaved by anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's important. Mm-hmm. So, I
And
got no judgments for anybody, but you
Thanks,
got
Larry.
people around. Trust me. If you don't believe that people love you and there's people around, trust me. There's people that are going to miss you. There's people that are going to love you. And there's going to be a lot of devastation if you're not around. So
I remember at the beginning of the channel, like it was our first villager that we lost.
yeah, man.
And that was it's crazy because he'd been watching us, and we get a lot of emails. So sometimes, we don't find the email until a very long time later. Like sometimes I open up a message and I'm like, wow, this is... Anyway, so he had sent us a couple of messages and stuff, and, we had talked to him a little bit, but his life ended, and I don't know, it's just hard. It's because I thought to myself, like, that guy had no idea that, like, the small little interactions that we had with him, which was very small, like how you were going to feel about it and how I was going to feel about it if something happened to him. And, I cried over it. You cried over it. And I don't know. It's just like you said, like, you don't know what people think or what people feel. And like people see it all the time. Funeral happens, and then all of a sudden all the positive stuff about somebody's coming out. Like there's people that care, but there's also a lot of people that everybody's focused on their lives and stuff. So never think that nobody cares. Never think that you're left alone, or that, life would be better off without you, or that you are giving nothing to society. Like you're here for a reason. Yep. If you don't know what that reason is, find the reason. Don't end it before you get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, silent
count for me as well.
Silent count for me. Much love to everybody. No judgments to anybody, but holy smokes, you guys are killing us.
Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Mama Dukes. Sorry out.
Gone.